Welcome, everyone. It's so great to see you. My name's Chris Benner. I'm the faculty director of the Institute for Social Transformation, who sponsors the Building Belonging program. And my role is really more as a MC today, kind of moving things along, logistics. And I will soon turn it to our dean to say a little bit more about the program today. But just to say, yeah, we're super excited about this event. This is now the 5th annual Building Belonging event. It's a really powerful program of connecting students with faculty members. We've had 56 students that were supported this year in working with their faculty advisors. We're going to have 52 of them speaking today. So it's a packed program, and really excited to hear their work. One of the things that's different this year is that we have created certificates of completion and graduation cords that all of the Building Belonging students will get today to have a memory of this experience. And after you've come and done your presentation, you'll go over and get those materials from Belle and Evan over there. And this year, we also asked students to submit photos of their research experience. And as an incentive, we offered a $50 gift card that anyone who submitted photos is eligible for. So at the end of the event, we're going to hold a raffle, and one of the students will get a $50 gift card for that. And finally, we have a film company here today. We're developing some promotional material and going through some rebranding efforts at the Institute. So West Cliff Creative is here today, and they'll be making short films actually out of the Building Belonging experience to help communicate that experience. So you'll see them around interviewing some of the staff and many of the students as part of that. I do want to acknowledge, it's really important that the land on which we gather is the unceded territory of the Awaswas-speaking Yupi tribe. The Amamutsan tribal band, comprised of the descendants of indigenous people taken to missions Santa Cruz and San Juan Bautista during Spanish colonization of the Central Coast, is today working hard to restore traditional stewardship practices on these lands and heal from historical trauma. And as I read that land acknowledgement, I always like to emphasize that it's really important that that doesn't just become a performative act that's not backed up by real work and effort. So if you don't know about the Amamutsan Tribal Band, go and look at their website, learn about the work that they're doing, and the Amamutsan Land Trust. Get to know about the Amamutsan Relearning Program, which is a really powerful effort that the Arboretum is doing in partnership with the Amamutsan Tribal Band. In the places that you're from around the state and around the country, know the indigenous communities that are on that land now and have been there for thousands of years and understand their struggles. And if you're here on Sunday, our American Indian Resource Center is helping to host a powwow at the Kaiser Arena downtown. And it's a really powerful opportunity for an intertribal celebration and gathering of indigenous cultures and resilience, really, in this world today. So it'll be an inspirational event. Check it out. Without further ado, I want to turn it to our Dean, Catherine Mitchell, to help explain a little bit about Building Belonging and the program today. So, Catherine, over to you. Please.
Oh, welcome, and thanks to Chris. Also, thanks to Chris especially for helping to initiate this program with me 5 years ago. I can't believe it's been 5 years. And many thanks to the Institute for Transformation's team, especially Evan Knight, for implementing this program so well over the last 5 years. We could not do it without their support. So just let's start with that. So in the social sciences, we know that connecting with faculty and their research is one of the most powerful experiences that undergraduates can have, and it really impacts careers. Not only does it give students the opportunity to develop research skills at the cutting edge of new knowledge, but it also helps students to build closer relationships with their professors and envision futures in graduate school or other research-related paths. And there's a lot of data that shows that that kind of close relationship really makes a difference in student success and in future trajectories. All too often, though, as many people here probably know, students who are first-generation low income or from historically marginalized backgrounds are excluded from these kinds of opportunities, even though it can be a crucial component to doing well in and making the most of your time in college. So what this program is designed to do is to dismantle some of those barriers and to give more students the chance to work directly with world-class researchers on world-class research projects in the social sciences and expand your engagement with faculty and foster a deeper sense of belonging and connection here to the campus and to academic life. So our Building Belonging students, as you know, many of you are awarded $1,500 scholarships per quarter, and that makes these opportunities paid rather than something where you have to go out and work, rather than take these interesting opportunities to work with faculty. And we want to thank the generous donors who fund this program, which is administered by the Institute. We're hoping that they will continue some of their generosity. We're in conversations with them right now, and we'll keep you tuned on that front. So since we launched this program in 2020, we have awarded over 560 student scholarships, and that totals $840,000 going directly to students. And we've also supported over 187 faculty research projects through this program. So it's pretty impressive bang for buck, as we will say to the donor. Get good value for money on this one. So the event today builds our Building Belonging Student Fellows. It provides our fellows a chance to show some of the work that you've been doing with the broader community. As Chris said, we're going to hear from 52 students who have taken on research projects all across an interesting range of things. UCSC Chicken X, Latin X, student activist histories, to banks and their climate engagement, to ecology of ants, restoring tropical habitats, to tracking colonial deportations in South America, and a lot more. So if you want more information about what's going on with these research projects, please visit the Institute's website. It's at transform.ucsc, and then just type in Building Belonging Fellows. Please join me in celebrating this amazing work. And now I'm going to hand it back to Chris, who will introduce the students who are presenting today.
So first, a little bit more housekeeping. We're not going to have a break. So please take care of any physical needs you may have just on your own time. The bathrooms, restrooms are out that door in the back. There's also a water fountain out there. We will also not have time for question and answers, but we encourage you to save your questions, and we're going to have a reception right after all the presentations outside, and that's a great chance to go up to the presenters and ask your questions and talk to them about that work. So please join us for that reception outside. Today's event will be recorded and posted on our website, transform.ucsc.edu. There's a few seats up front here if you'd like to come up. Thanks. And then instructions to the students. What I'm going to do is call your names to come to the stage, and I'm going to let you know who's on deck for the baseball analogy, who's next. And so you can come up and make your way to the front of the room, and so we can cycle through in a timely way. So with that, the first two students are Dana Alvarez-Hernandez and Alicia Ramos, who are working with faculty mentor Maureen Callahan in psychology. And on deck is Ali Gutierrez Esquivel. So come on up. Yeah, go for it. What's that?
Hello, everyone. My name is Dana.
I'm Alessia.
And today we are delighted to share with you the research project we have been a part of.
The title of the project is Ciencia en Relatos Latine Families Talk About Science. This project is in collaboration with Professor Maureen Callahan in the psychology department.
So this project followed Latine families exploring how they talk to their young children about science through storytelling. In my role as a research assistant, I have been coding translanguaging while parents shared these two books with their children. Translanguaging refers to the way in which Bilinguals use all of their language knowledge to express meaning, often by switching from one language to another. In our data, translanguaging was observed in 82% of the families. I am currently still coding these conversations, and I'm focusing on where in the utterance the translanguaging is occurring and what function it serves. For instance, we have been saying that children often switch from Spanish to English. An example of this would be an instance where the mother says, "Mira los árboles" in Spanish, and the child responds, "No, trees" in English.
As a research assistant as well, I coded for emotional content during parents' oral stories to their child. While watching these parent-child interactions via videos, I focused on 5 core emotions: joy, sadness, curiosity, surprise, and fear, by identifying when these emotions were expressed through happy, sad, wow, why, and scared. Curiosity often emerged from open-ended questions, revealing a strong link between emotion and science learning.
It has been a very enjoyable experience working with this team, where I've been constantly reminded of the value of collaboration and mutual support. And as a Latina myself, I truly recognize the importance of conducting research within our marginalized communities, especially when it brings in valuable insight on how we can better support children's learning.
This project has been especially meaningful to me because it explores how children learn through the lens of culture and family connection. It recognizes that culture is not separate from learning, but in fact deeply woven into how children make sense of the world. Our cultural backgrounds shape the stories we tell, the emotions we express, and the questions we ask. Being a part of a project that values these experiences has been incredibly meaningful to me. Thank you so much.
Can you all hear okay in the back? All right, thumbs up. Great. So Ali is next. Ali Gutierrez, are you here? And on deck is Aaliyah Belong and Journey Bliss.
Can you guys hear me okay? Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Ali Gutierrez Esquivel, and today I'll be presenting my research that I worked alongside with Professor Laura Beth Bug called Migrant Farm Workers and the Role of Corporate Champions. This project is very much personal to me. Growing up in a community where farm work and migration are common, I've witnessed how separation as well as machismo shape many of my community members' lives. With this, it led me to explore how H-2A migrant farm workers, specifically men from Mexico and Guatemala, receive emotional and spiritual support through corporate chaplains employed by recruiters. I focused on a Facebook livestream series called Fresh Harvest, which was my primary data source. Since these videos were in Spanish, I did take the accountability of translating them as part of my work. I also identified key themes through thematic coding, such as masculinity, emotional healing, fatherhood, and faith. Within this, I also conducted a literature review on chaplaincy programs and how emotional and spiritual health impact migrant farm workers. From my research, chaplains offer emotional and spiritual support through storytelling, scriptures, encouraging healing from forgiveness, and reframe fatherhood to emphasize more emotional and spiritual connection. They also challenge cultural expectations of masculinity and also offer alternative models incorporating vulnerability, responsibility, and care. Overall, this research highlights how spiritual care is helping men navigate emotional struggles within systems that they are expected to remain silent. However, it does also raise important questions about what true community healing looks like in systems that perpetrates these cycles of trauma as well as separate families. Thank you.
So Journey and Aaliyah, come on up. And on deck is Jasmine Barragan.
Hi, my name is Journey Bliss.
And my name is Aaliyah Belonge.
And this is our research about the associations between intimate partner violence, maternal depression, paternal perceived stress, and child growth in rural Bangladesh. And this research was done in part with the Lynn Lab and could not have happened without Dr. Audrey Liss. Oh, I'm sorry, you're doing it, aren't you? Okay. So this is a sub-study of a larger WASH benefit study that was done in 2013 that focused on water, sanitation, hand washing, and nutrition interventions on child growth in rural Bangladesh. And it's important to note for this research that IPV prevalence is high in Bangladesh, and maternal depression and paternal perceived stress have been associated with adverse child growth outcomes.
And then together, Journey and I analyzed the current literature and identified the gaps within them. We developed a statistical analysis plan and analyzed data using multivariate generalized linear models, adjusting for potential confounders using RStudio. We also applied to present at the American Society of Nutrition's annual Nutrition 2025 conference. And as of right now, in progress, we are preparing our manuscript and working towards publishing. And we are also working on our project to present for the upcoming ASN conference on May 31st. Some of our key takeaways as we did our research was that intimate partner violence, maternal depression, and parental perceived stress were not associated with child growth and ponderal growth. And we also found that further research is needed to analyze the psychosocial health and undernutrition in low to middle income countries. One of the images below is actually from the Lynn Lab website. And to end, we'd like to thank the Institute for Social Transformation for supporting our research this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jasmine, come on up. And on deck is Luis Garcia and Julian Serrano. Is Jasmine here? Oh, it is. Wait, sorry.
Jasmine Barakan. I'm an art and psychology double major, and my research was on the children's conceptions on the afterlife, and I worked with David Menendez in the Department of Psychology in the Crece Research Lab on campus. And my main research question was, how does culture influence children's concepts on the afterlife? And this research took place in Mexico, which is a country that embraces death and the afterlife through the holiday of Dia de los Muertos. Our study focused on children in Puebla, Mexico. We wanted to examine the coexistence of secular and religious concepts made on the afterlife. And we had 2 interviews, one with narratives and questions, and then the next interview just had open-ended questions. And we found that children mentioned both religious and secular ideas. Although secular ideas were found a little bit more, they were both mentioned. And this program has helped me feel a lot more involved and recognized on campus. It has also given me a great opportunity to learn more about research. And I will also have my name published on a future research paper, which is very cool. But yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And
so on deck is Allison Duran Mahano. So coming up, Luis, yeah, it's up to you. Well, she's on deck, but it's to you, Luis and Julian.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luis Garcia.
My name is Julian Serrano.
And today we're going to be talking about UCSC Chicano Latinx student activist histories. If you guys want more information about our project or anything about it, there's a QR code right there. So if you guys want to take a quick picture, yes. So to begin with, I'm going to be talking about the GE requirement, ethnic GE requirement, and the hunger strike. So in 1981, over 20 student organizations united to demand a third world and Native American Studies program here at UCSC, and now that is called Tuanas. So the petition argued that the curriculum ignored third world perspectives, and one student activist said that middle-class American people should know more to coexist peacefully in one society. So this was more than just about academics, right? It was about recognition, it was about representation, and it was about truth, and it was about truth. And a quote that stuck to me was that we're not seeking privileges, we are demanding that this university begin to reflect the reality of the student population. So Tuanas led a hunger strike, and after 4 days, students gathered outside of McHenry Library, the very same library that we use to study. And they were singing, they were sharing stories, and they were showing solidarity. And as they put it, they were not fasting for crumbs, but demanding for structural change. So they won key concessions like faculty hires and a commitment to ethnic studies, but this was called the E requirement at the time. And the EGE requirement that followed was more of a compromise, and it was not in the department until about 20 plus years later. So one student later said that the proposal has been passed. What we want now is implementation. And to me, this quote stuck out to me the most because it reminded me that activism doesn't stop with the win, and it takes pressure and persistence. And to be honest, that legacy still continues today, because the reason why we're studying what we're studying is because of people like them. So, and to that, I'm going to pass it on to my partner, Julie.
Something else that we looked into was a case study of the Watsonville cannery strike. Up there, we have a few images. The cannery strike occurred because wages were cut from about $7 to $4, which is an inhumane rate then and now. About a month later, 100 UCSC students joined in marching to the Watsonville canning board blocked off by police. Despite, court limitations, about 46 students continue showing up and were cited. And then Hector Tobar, a known author now, shares how they weren't even able to make phone calls while they were in their holding cells. Despite that, students kept showing up. They created committees to fundraise, spread the word, and offer legal help. Another image that we would have liked to include was this photo titled "Remember the Struggle," which displays a line workers to commemorate the time where they had to cut and pack 16 stalks of broccoli per minute, and those who weren't able to do that were essentially fired. By respecting their fight, we are not only respecting their roots, but we also carry their dreams forward. The work, the risk, and the spirit of resistance that those workers and students showed, that's the foundation we stand on today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Allison, you're up, and Scarlett Ortega Velez is next online.
Hi, so my research is on policy, policing, and survival, COVID-19 and trans feminine migrants in Peru. So this project examined how COVID mitigation strategies in Peru, such as gender-based lockdowns and curfews, impacted trans feminine migrants, and it helped highlight how public health policies reinforce systemic violence and exclusion. This is really important because a lot of these policies negatively impact trans feminine migrants in many ways. Like, for example, the gendered lockdowns made gender identity a legal constraint on mobility. So trans migrants were especially vulnerable due to the lack of documentation, the xenophobia, and the informal labor dependence. But despite these binary policies trying to erase gender diversity and increasing vulnerability during the pandemic, practices such as the Olla Común, which is a communal cooking effort where neighbors and friends pool resources to both sell food and ensure everyone eats, help challenge the institutional neglect by fostering collective care and gender-inclusive spaces for survival. And for the project, I helped annotate the bibliography, and I helped transcribe and translate the interviews from Spanish to English. And I also helped narrativize the stories of these women. And something that popped up, a key theme, was the idea of community. And it was really eye-opening to see how important community support was for simply surviving. One of the women mentioned that the olla común was sometimes the only sustenance that she was able to eat during the pandemic. And I think it just shows how important acts of resistance and supporting each other during tumultuous times is. Thank you.
So Scarlett's coming up, and after Scarlett is Crystal Solis.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Scarlett Ortega Velez. I'm a transfer student and will be graduating in environmental studies and economics. My professor or faculty member was Professor Mijin Cha. She's not here today, but hi, Professor. I'm sure she'll watch. But the title of my project is California Air Resource Board Racial Equity Inventory. And with Dr. Mijin Cha and the co-PI, Dr. Chris, hi, I was able to work
On the California Air Resource Board Equity Inventory, also referred to as CARB, I was a part of 2 different projects during my time with Building Belongings. The first was to create an equity framework to evaluate CARB's programs and divisions, such as the Sustainable Transportation and Communities Division. So one of the pictures is the flower figure done by Gabriela Alvarez, who was a part of our team, is a figure or is a model to show how we measure equity as we look at CARB and its projects. And then the following image is just some of the definitions that we have on words such as racial equity, people of color, and vulnerability, because it is important that we all agree on how we use these words while we use them and talk to other people in the community and such. The other project, pivoting, that I'm currently working on, I'm writing a report about the bill AB 617, which was passed in 2017. Basically, the project is focused on West Oakland because West Oakland has a problem with their air pollution, especially because the city is surrounded by freeways and also a port, which produces a lot of airborne pollution. And so overall, this experience, thanks to Building Belonging, has been very exciting and educational. I've been able to meet and talk to many people whose passion has inspired me to continue my higher educational journey, and I'm looking forward to see where this work will take me.
So Crystal coming up, and after Crystal is the team of Ella, Molly, and Sophie.
Hello, my name is Crystal Solis, and over the past year, I've worked with Professor David Gordon on 2 projects focused on local city governments and how they are planning for climate-friendly, transformative urban futures. The first project looks at how local governments in San Francisco, San Jose, and Santa Cruz are building for their climate action plans and how the public responds to them. We focused on how city officials explain and promote their plans to the public and how community reactions, especially skepticism or pushback, can shape or challenge these efforts. With this research, we're trying to understand how city officials build strong political coalitions so that they can overcome resistance and then effectively carry out their transformative goals. The second project looks at electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, or eVTOLs, though they're often referred to as flying cars, and they're similar to helicopters in how they take off. We studied how companies promote these technologies and try to legitimize it in the public eye. We also explored the city's responses to these plans and how their own urban visions might compete with those of the industry. Most people probably haven't heard much about flying cars, but influential corporate giants are moving quickly to roll them out in big cities like LA, Houston, New York, and many other cities abroad. This kind of change could really reshape urban life, and so it's important to understand how local governments are navigating these competing visions for urban futures. And to conclude, I just wanted to thank the Building Belonging program as well as Professor David Gordon for giving me the opportunity to conduct this research. Thank you.
So Ella, Molly, and Sophie coming up. And the next on deck is Vivian and Marilu.
Hey, I'm doing lectures right now. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. This is our paper. It's a working paper describing the local impacts of California's $20 fast food minimum wage in the city of Santa Cruz. My name is Molly.
I'm Ella.
And I'm Sophie.
So a little bit of background on our paper is that in April 2024, California implemented a sector-specific $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers. Sorry about that. And so my favorite part of our research was when we drove to San Jose and we got to visit a Burger King that was utilizing an AI ordering system. And this exemplified the use of automation being implemented as a result of trying to cut costs. And thank you to the Building Belonging program for making us publish co-authors. And I believe that that played a huge factor in me getting into my dream grad school of LSC. So a huge thank you to the program. And now I'll pass it to Sophie.
So as we know, the local businesses here in Santa Cruz are the heart and backbone of the city.
And I think one of the most meaningful parts of this research for me was being able to sit down with these local business owners and talk to them about how they've been negatively impacted by this statewide policy. And we've seen, learning from them, they're suffering a lot. They're having to increase prices to keep up with the neighboring fast food businesses, and their customers are upset, and there's a whole vast more of negatives. And also, building belonging is also a very big part of made this paper happen. And I want to thank our mentor, Stephen Owen. He really has inspired me to pursue economic research in higher education, and a paper like this wouldn't be possible without him in building belonging.
I was able to talk to a Taco Bell franchise owner to gain insight into how this bill has affected local franchise operations. Building belonging gave me an opportunity to work collaboratively on a research paper with my professor and peers, which is an opportunity I would not have otherwise had access to. In our research, we found that fast food minimum wage increase had a number of adverse effects, including a reduction in hours for fast food employees, an increase in fast food menu prices, increased automation, and pressure on small businesses to raise wages. Local business owners with a loyal customer base and different cuisine offerings were the most resilient to these effects. Thank you for listening. Now,
So Vivian and Mari, come on up. And next on deck is Juliet Ruiz.
Hi, my name is Mary Lou Jacinto Jimenez. I'm a politics and Latin American studies combined major.
Hi, I'm Vivian. I'm a history and politics double major here at UCSC. And our project is the varieties of federalism and the erosion of democracy in the Americas.
Our research focused on the U.S. and Mexico and how parties have maintained authoritarian power at the subnational level despite national democracy. We analyzed the role that institutions played in maintaining the hegemony and how federalism either worked to alleviate or complicate party competition.
So for this project, we worked with Professor Ken Eaton on his In Progress journal article titled Varieties of Federalism and Subnational Undemocratic Regimes, a comparison of Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, and the United States. And so during the course of our project consisted of searching through databases, constructing relevant timelines, comparing federal systems, analyzing constitutional reforms, and comparing different case studies.
In Mexico's case, I looked at how the PRI was eventually removed from national power through a series of reforms and power sharing. This included piecing together a timeline of the creation of the IFE and how it eventually became the INE. This change was brought on by a series of fraudulent elections dating back to the 1980s. And although these reforms were successful at removing the PRI from national power, the party held on to subnational power. Currently, the PRI has rebranded as Morena and is continuing to make advances at the national level, and this showed us the limitations and advantages of Mexico's federalism system.
And then the case study that I primarily focused on was the United States. I mostly studied preemption, which I was able to define as the state trying to undermine or undo progress from local counties. I found that it was most powerful in weakest states, where the state was successfully able to deny local municipalities the right to pursue policies. Additionally, governors in red states were most likely to use preemption, which makes the landscape or the prospects for subnational authoritarianism worse in the U.S. compared to Latin American countries.
And thank you.
Yeah, we wanted to thank the Building Belonging program for this opportunity, and to Professor Eaton, who is so awesome, and your work is super important and inspiring. So thank you so much for letting us contribute to your work.
Thanks for inspiration.
Next on deck after Juliet is Jenna DiNapoli.
Hello, I'm Juliet Ruiz. I'm an ecology and evolution major, and I was working with Giselle Hurtado and the Urban Ethology Lab at the Norris Center. So I conducted research based on previous work done in 2023 and 2024, where I studied the effects of urbanization and anthropogenic influences on wildlife. And thanks to the Building Belonging Fellowship Program, I'm able to continue my research, where I'm focusing on habitat characteristics and the number of people on campus. So I hypothesized that habitat characteristics and the number of people would vary by level of urbanization. So I collected data at several different urban and rural sites on campus, and I used several different methods of data collection. As you can see, where I'm using a transect to measure species diversity. And for my results, I found no significant difference in the people frequency or in ground cover when comparing rural versus urban areas. However, I did find a significant difference in vegetation height, where rural sites had a higher mean vegetation height than urban. And to continue my research, I conducted a background literature review on traditional ecological knowledge and local ecological knowledge. So TEK is a history of interactions between people and animals, and it consists of indigenous knowledge of environmental diversity, symbolism, customs, practices, and more. And this spans from hundreds to thousands of years. LEK is on a more recent time scale, and it consists of local knowledge of species location, species abundance, how to control or promote a population, and this spans from several decades to hundreds of years. So my objective for the literature review is so that we can use TEK and LEK in our future mammal research. And in looking at background literature, I focused on land mammals in North and South America. So listed here are some highlights I found in the literature on TEK and LEK. Thank you.
So Jenna, come on up. And next on deck is Sophia Lewis Musa.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenna, and my project is on the social integration of immigrant female chimpanzees into a new community. So for this project, we utilize long-term camera trap footage from Tanzania to observe the social integration process of female chimpanzees into a new community. And this is a video from one of those camera traps. This is a few chimps arriving at a termite mound where they're going to be fishing for termites. So this is an adult male, and then an adult female comes in with her infant. And then the last to enter the frame is one of the immigrant females, Kasolia, that I'm focusing on in this project. And she gets her fruit stolen by this infant. And she can't really do much about it because she's new to the group and low ranking. So, but the nature of early integration is not well known because direct observations of new chimpanzees are impossible for at least the first year because they're not well habituated. So in 487 videos of these females, I documented the variation in sexual swelling size. I also looked at associations with other individuals, party size, and physical proximity between individuals. And then I also looked at the behaviors that were received by others, whether they were affiliative, agonistic, or sexual behaviors. And the use of camera traps in this context has not been tested before. And my results suggest we can detect how females navigate the first months after arrival into a new community. Thank you.
Sophia, and next is Ava and Angelina after Sophia.
Hi, my name is Sophia Lewis Musa, and I'm a fourth-year environmental studies and anthropology student here at UCSC. So this year I was lucky enough to be a Building Belonging Fellow under Professor Quintana Morales in her AIA lab in the anthropology department, where she and her team conduct zooarchaeological research focused on ancient foodways in Zambia. My role was to photograph the vertebral columns and neurocraniums of locally relevant catfish and cichlid species in the halfway floodplains of Zambia. These specimens were processed or cleaned in the field, then brought back to the AIA lab to be photographed and analyzed for a reference collection. And reference collections are really necessary in the identification process of fish bone deposits because archaeological bone conditions and quality can really vary. So it's helpful to have a modern reference to accurately identify them. This fellowship gave me the opportunity to branch out of my disciplines and try something new while being financially and professionally supported
throughout the entire process. So I want to thank the Institute of Social Transformation and my professor for giving me a chance to work alongside her and her team. Thank you.
So Ava and Angelina coming up, and next on deck is Christopher Matura.
Okay. Hi, I'm Angelina, and I'm an environmental studies major and legal studies minor.
I'm Ava, and I'm a plant sciences major and linguistics minor.
And today we're going to be presenting on our research with PhD candidate Georgia Vassie and Dr. Karen Hall on coordinated coastal prairie fire management.
With Georgia, we've been evaluating the germination of various native annual forbs in an experiment at Wilder Ranch in burned and unburned areas, as well as the regional survey looking into prairie recovery pre- and post-burn. The survey has included soil sampling and percent cover in prairies across the Central California coast that undergo regular prescribed burns.
This research is important because it is a step forward in understanding the impact of fire on forbs in California coastal prairies and will provide insight into the best restoration practices, including burning and microsite intervention. With the help of numerous volunteers, we hope to restore and re-diversify California coastal prairies.
Our contributions to this project include forb surveys where we count the number of germinants, flowers, and seeds of various native annual forbs that were planted last year in different treatment microsites, including mounds, swales, and herbicides. We also help with sampling, which includes taking soil cores to analyze root biomass and using transects and quadrats to estimate species percent cover. In the greenhouses, we've also been transplanting these same species for seed amplification to outplant in future years, and we will also be counting seed heads to estimate the number of seeds per inflorescence.
Our biggest takeaway so far has been gaining valuable hands-on experience in the field and the greenhouse. As we get closer to graduating, this experience will come in handy when applying for jobs. We would also like to thank the Building Belonging program for giving us this opportunity, and we hope to use the skills that we've gained here in the future. Thank you.
So Christopher, come on up, and the next one's another video. Is Christopher here? Yeah, great.
Far corner, y'all. So hi everyone, my name is Chris. The title of my project is One Guyana, Evaluating the Potential Symptoms of the Resource Curse and the Promises of Sustainable Development. So Guyana is a small country adjacent to Venezuela. It's about the size of England and the population of 800,000 people. And I decided to travel there because first, my family is from there. But secondly, because recently they have discovered petroleum. And this has been a goal of mine since I had come to college. I had wanted to do this. And I wanted to analyze the connections that the government has been doing, their resource management, and how they're handling, this huge influx of revenue that's coming into the country, and how they're handling it in the midst of a climate crisis, while the political party that's in power has these huge promises of sustainable development. So for some context, many countries in the global south that experience this huge boom of natural gas or petroleum tend to do much worse than what should really happen. I mean, they get a lot. Supposedly, it's supposed to be a profitable resource, but it ends up disastrous for them, like in Ecuador, Venezuela, Nigeria, and a lot of other examples. So for my data collection analysis, what I wanted to do was analyze the symptoms of the resource curse, which basically is, these indicators of like, okay, is this country going through what other countries has been going through when they were, investing their money in different sectors of the economy. Another thing I wanted to analyze was because this is in such a new era of the world. There was this concept that I analyzed, which was the green petrostate paradox, because essentially what Guyana was doing before petroleum was they had partnered with Norway, which is another oil producing country, and said, as a way to offset what we're doing, we're going to partner with you and give you $100 million over 10 years that you can invest for carbon offsets, indigenous communities, and all these different projects to offset that. But now they're balancing this huge resource abundance, extracting it, exporting it, while also acknowledging and calling themselves this green economy and green country. So it's a very interesting paradox that they kind of have to deal with. So this is important because this is a quote that I have here from one of the interviews that I did while I was in Guyana. This person owned a booth in the capital city of Georgetown, and I had walked up to him and I said, "Can I, ask you some questions?" And when we got to the topic of oil, he said, "That oil is our oil, and every Guyanese has a right to benefit from it, not just the rich." Basically, people have the right to benefit from their own resources, but often it doesn't happen. So with petroleum extraction, it's so profitable. It removes the ability for those that really need to benefit from it, like those communities, to benefit from it. It doesn't happen. And also, we're in a climate crisis. It's a very nuanced conversation because every nation has the right to decide what they do with their resources and how they handle it. But it's important to also analyze the promises of sustainability and sustainable development. So thank you to the Building Belonging program, the Latin American Studies department, and also thank you to my advisor, Dr. Flora Liu, because this was a very difficult project to accomplish and she motivated me very much. So thank you so much.
Do we not have the video? I guess not. Oops. Well, let's go with Alexandra and Jesus. Are you here? You're on, and we'll get to the video next. I think it's a little out of order from my thing. Welcome. And on deck then will be Liliana.
Hello, I'm Alexandra Mendez. I'm a fourth-year politics major here at UCSC.
And I'm Jesus Vargas, and I'm a second-year intensive psychology and Latin American and Latino studies double major.
Our project analyzes the colonial origins of deportation, borders, and prisons in South America. It focuses specifically on deportations carried out by Spanish colonial forces in the areas of modern-day Uruguay and Argentina, as pictured in the map on the screen. In a time where maps were not commonplace objects, deportation centers served as markers that indicated the borders of land ownership and sovereignty.
And here's where we came in. So our overall task was just to populate the database, using transcribed historical documents of monthly prisoner logs. Essentially what we would do is we would be given the transcriptions and we'd go month to month by adding each individual person. Some of these lists are like 100 people long. And we would go and basically if we've seen the person for the first time, we would add a number and we would track that person with those numbers every month. Usually if it's the list is in the same order, then we'll know if that's the same person. And then it's basically just go month to month, trying to add these people and just trying to track to see where they went. If there's new prisoners that were added into the month, we would add them. If they left, if they had a location where they were sent, we would add that as well. So it's basically, again, just trying to figure out where they went. And yeah, I think kind of another thing is we used the database system called Airtable, and we were able to create our own databases with the help with our mentors too. So.
By tracking colonial deportations, this project aims to demonstrate how the Spanish colonial regime used physical removal and social isolation as a means of systematizing lower-class individuals, indigenous peoples, and people who defied colonial norms.
And lastly, one of the biggest takeaways of this project was to kind of humanize each of the people that were involved in this. A lot of the times the history of these institutions and these prisons are about the location itself and not about the people that are behind it and that are living through these systems. So I feel like this project really does, it's attempting to try to uncover these stories and try to figure out what were the narratives, what were these people doing, and what kind of relationships they had within the prison system, as well as where they were sent, and just trying to humanize them through that process.
Thank you.
The things are out of order. Things are out of order here from what's on my printout. So, but Sharad and Carrie, are you here? You ready to present? Oh, this one's a video. Okay, here we go.
Hi, my name is Sharad Tunamal. I'm a fourth-year business management economics major.
Hello, my name is Carrie Chen, and I'm a second-year math and economics major. And this year, we worked under Professor Stedman for the banks and their client engagement project. Our project overview was, in this project, we were investigating how banks engage with both their clients and their public policy when it comes specifically to climate risk mitigation. We analyzed public disclosures, ESG reports, and federal regulatory comments to see whether or not banks actually did their ESG commitments and if their commitments align with their real-world behavior.
As research assistants on this project, our role involved collecting and analyzing ESG reports, public comments, and annual reports. This included developing a textual analysis methodology to evaluate how banks engage with climate policy and their clients. The goal is to provide a clear data-driven assessment of whether these institutions are aligning their actions with their stated ESG commitments. The findings from this analysis will serve as a valuable resource for academic research and future conferences, offering a deeper understanding of the financial sector's climate engagement.
So why this research? Well, this research matters because banks play a crucial role in financing green transition. They influence which industries get capital and how climate-related risks are handled across the economy. By revealing how financial institutions shape both corporate practices and public policy, our work helps uncover whether or not the climate promises are truly just meaningful or just PR.
And then this research also aims to assess the actual impact of these voluntary climate commitments by evaluating how closely these actions align with these stated goals. This research can provide meaningful insights for investors, advocates, and policymakers, helping them make more informed decisions about climate-related investments and regulatory strategies. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think Liliana's next, right?
Hi, my name is...
There we go, Liliana. And I think there might be a video after this, but coming up soon is Setlali and Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liliana Barajas, and I am a senior anthropology and literature student here at UCSC. For my Building Belonging project, I worked under my faculty mentor Carla Hernandez Garavito, who also is in the anthropology department. So for this project, I did petrographic analysis on ceramic shards. To really give you the full context, this project kind of started this past summer. I was able to travel to Peru with her and analyze all of these shards with the Dino light, which is that one in the top left image. And so it is kind of a painstaking process because you have shards from all sizes and you are just trying to get the right angle to photograph the ceramic as cleanly as possible. A significance of this project is that it allows for the characterization of techniques and practices of local artisans during the occupation of the site. And some key takeaways of this project are that ceramic analysis and photography relating to ceramics found in Napahuasi, which is where these ceramics are from, and then how the ceramics can tell us how the sites interact and fit into the larger context, and fostering international collaboration. I was able to work with a grad student in Peru, and then he also is working on the spreadsheet side of things, and we combined data, and eventually we'll be writing a report together. And so to give you a clear image, this is kind of what the ceramics looks like under the microscope. Personally, I think they're really beautiful, and it's been amazing to kind of explore this niche within anthropology. So thank you so much to Carla and also the Building Belonging Project. Thank you.
Pretty sure this one's a video. Yes. Awesome.
Hi everyone, my name is Elsie Vizcarra. I'm a fourth year student studying LALS, and I'm excited to share this LALS Professional Opportunities and Pathway Project, or POP, a peer mentorship program I co-created with my peer Aaliyah under the guidance of LALS advisor Ursula and Professor Martinez. This project started in response to data collected from the LALS student survey that shared a clear pattern that over 70% of our students are working more than one job, and they are mostly first generation low income. And so students reported struggling to find resources, connecting with faculty, and preparing for life post-grad. And Aaliyah and I saw ourselves in that data. We both had to juggle academics and campus jobs and leadership roles, and we knew firsthand how important mentorship and networks were to student success. And so instead of reinventing the wheel, we created a peer mentorship model, a space for students to share practical advice, professional development, resources, and emotional support. We developed a quarter-long curriculum covering topics like fourth-year academic planning and career planning, exploring campus resources like the Academic Career Success Center, personal statement writing and graduate school prep, digital portfolios and interview practice, and mindfulness techniques. We recorded 4 mentees. For me personally, I was able to work with a first-year and fourth-year student. For the fourth-year student, we practiced graduate school applications, we revised a personal statement, and we practiced mock interviews, and the student was ultimately accepted into the graduate program. With our first-year student, we focused on finding community, exploring major and careers, and navigating the institution. They often brought up issues on housing, and we were able to talk about why it's important to build a strong network, and asking faculty and professors for assistance when needed. A large takeaway that we found from this project was that LALS students need networks and peer mentorship from the moment they arrive here at UCSC, because it bridges the knowledge gap and helps students succeed, not just academically, but emotionally, and it makes the university easier to navigate. Those were our findings, and I'm super thankful that I was able.
So Citlali and Stephanie coming up, and on deck is Zaire and Jasmine.
Hello, my name is Citlali Trejo. I'm an education and psychology double major, and my pronouns are she, her, and my partner.
I'm Stephanie Mendez. I'm doing global community health and education, and my pronouns are also she and her.
And our project is called Farmworker Community Education Pathways for Equity and Climate Resilience. Many farmworkers have hopes and dreams for their children's futures, like graduating high school and getting a degree to improve their children's lives, as they view education as a way to obtain upward social mobility. With that, our project focuses on farmworkers' families' experiences and aspirations to learn how to support farmworkers and their adolescent children. We plan to conduct bilingual interviews with about 15 farmworker parent and adolescent pairs to explore their family dynamics, parents' workplace experiences, and changing political and environmental conditions, and their aspirations for the future. We believe that understanding the lived experiences of farmworker families will prove to be essential in developing educational, labor, and health policies that are inclusive and equitable.
Through an in-depth literature review of articles on farmworker families, our group developed an informed and effective interview. This research helped us understand existing studies and shape our approach, allowing us to better highlight the need for resources that support vulnerable minority communities. While reviewing the research, we saw a lack of attention to diverse voices. There was a constant gap in education for farmer worker children's experiences. Many of the students are not prioritized or considered when it comes to post-graduation preparation initiatives. This may translate into an awareness of future career and academic pathways, which can relate to remaining as field workers. Through our interviews, we aim to learn about farm worker families to better support their children and eventually provide 4 possible college career pathways to farm worker children and their parents. Our 4 pathways will include caregiving and childcare, agriculture, teaching, and healthcare certificates. Thank you.
So Zaire and Jasmine come up, and next on deck is Anahi Matias Santiago.
Hello, my name is Zaire Tennant. I'm a 5th-year environmental studies major.
And my name is Jasmine Moffett. I'm a 4th-year biology EEB major, and we are part of the Earth Lab, or the Ecology of Ants Restoring Tropical Habitats, run by graduate student Christina Bliba in the Whole Restoration Ecology Lab. Earth is an offshoot of the ongoing ISLIS project, created in part by Dr. Karen Hull along with the Charles Darwin Foundation. It's a long-term project focusing on restoration strategy assessment in the neotropics, aiding the restoration of former agricultural land. Earth's main question asks how tropical forest restoration in Costa Rica influences ant ecology and insect-plant interactions.
Ants frequently serve as seed dispersers for many plants, including trees, shrubs, and others, through transporting their seeds. Usually, these are brought back to the colony for food, but these are sometimes forgotten along the path or within their colony, leading to the seed being planted. Understanding what species contribute to this replanting most effectively is important for restoration project assessment and project effectiveness. Our contributions included morphometric data, which was the measuring of ant anatomy, and exploratory graphical analysis in our studio regarding dispersal distance.
We also analyzed ant seed interactions, such as if an ant licked or dispersed a seed, and dispersal distances for those seeds. Additionally, we identified pinned ants using a dichotomous key down to their genus and species to aid in interaction analysis. We would like to thank Christina Bliba and the Building Belongings program for this amazing opportunity. Thank you so much for listening. Do you have anything else?
I don't. Thank you so much.
So after Anahi is Julian Crown. So welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Anahi Matias Santiago, and I'm a 3rd-year student in the Politics and LAList department. And my faculty mentor was Dr. Alicia Riley in the Sociology department. And my title was Connect/Conectados, Social Networks and Health Among Indigenous Californians. This project was a cross-campus effort with teams at UCSC, UC Merced, and UC San Francisco. The overview of this project was to examine how social networks characteristics relate to COVID-19 vaccine knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors among Indigenous Californians in Indigenous communities in California, with an emphasis in Indigenous migrants from Latin America. In this project, there was also an additional help from a community advisory board that consisted of Senderos and Cielo, so to help make like a culturally accessible outreach to the communities. My contributions in this project was to conduct a literature review as an independent project on something that I wanted to expand from the research already being done. I helped assist in the development of focus group questions and had sat in a focus group that was pertaining to the community of Purepecha in Mecca, California. I helped participate in lab meetings and trainings to build financial knowledge on quantitative and qualitative research methods. I performed a basic level thematic analysis of the focus group data from the Purepecha community to help identify emerging patterns and insights. Something that we had found was how cross-border relationships really helped inform the community's interpretations on COVID vaccine analysis and whether or not they should pursue it. And then additionally, I helped create a lot of outreach materials for our data collection. So, for example, with the survey outreach, and then also for focus group participants. And then a key takeaway from this project is like, I also come from the indigenous migrant community, so this project was personal to me, but it also helped deepen my understandings on how social networks shape health barriers within our communities, and it also reinforced the importance of culturally rooted approaches in research and outreach. Thank you.
So after Julian is the team of Zoe, Anna, and Robert. Oh no, so Julian's not here. Do we have a video from Julian? No. Okay. Well, Zoe, Anna, and Robert, you're up. After them will be Avon Bach.
Hey everybody, I'm Anna.
I'm Robert.
And I'm Zoe, and we're with the Young Workers Study of Santa Cruz County.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Young Workers Project is a community-initiated, student-engaged research project that assesses the working experiences of young workers in Santa Cruz County around the ages of 18 to 34.
Following an earlier study of 2,000 young people in Santa Cruz County, us as research assistants, we conducted 30 interviews via Zoom. And in this, process, we cleaned up transcripts, performed thematic coding, and assisted with the analysis and report writing of the project.
And what this study really does is it highlights the voices and experiences of young workers in Santa Cruz County. And one of our key findings that we wanted to share with you all is that our preliminary analyses suggest that young workers in large part in the county are generally supportive of unions or fall in this union curious category, which explains a worker that is interested in but still apprehensive about unions for a number of reasons. And what this suggests is that with efforts by local organizers to mobilize young workers in the county, this population could be poised to lead a boom in unionizing. We want to extend a huge thank you to Veronica Hamilton, to Dr. Steve McKay, and all other lab mates that are here today, and also to the Institute for supporting us on this.
Avon, come up. After Avon is Leah Toledo.
Hello, thank you all for your attention today. My name is Ivan Bach. I'm a third-year environmental science and anthropology double major. And the title of my project is Food Culture and Sustainability in Okinawa. I worked with Professor Alan Christie from the History Department. I want to say a very big thank you. I'm very grateful for the Institute of Social Transformation and the Building Belonging program for funding my position within the project, as well as giving me an opportunity to connect with other student researchers and deepen my relationship with my faculty mentor. My project focused around Okinawan food and culture, and the purpose was to help revitalize cultural traditions, as well as understand how history informs culture. This project was in part, I collaborated with my faculty mentor, as well as the Okinawa Memories Initiative, or OMI for short. So I am also the archival team lead for OMI, and I also helped do a bunch of research for this project. Some of my contributions included helping plan the exhibit at the Eloise Pickard Smith Gallery, which opened in winter this year. And I also helped organize and run the closing reception, as well as the cooking workshops we held there. And currently I am working on additional research to build on top of this physical exhibit, to provide an expanded digital exhibit in collaboration with Japan Past and Present, research promotion organization that was created through Waseda and UCLA universities. My key takeaways from this project was the importance of planning ahead, as the schedule was very tight around our exhibit opening. But I also learned a lot about how food brings people together. Omi was very fortunate this year to host Master Chef in Ryukyuan cuisine, Tsukiyama Keiko. She came here and helped run the cooking workshops. So that was a really amazing experience. We helped give out free food, Okinawan style food at the Eloise Pickard Smith Gallery. And it really showed me how not only like the consumption of food, but also the cooking process, and also like gathering ingredients as well as growing food as a way to like bring people together. The Okinawa Memories Initiative OMI, we take yearly trips to Okinawa. On our trip last year, we were able to participate in a forestry workshop where student researchers got to spend time together in nature, which was really awesome. And we're currently planning for our trip to Okinawa this summer, where I'll be studying more about the special occasions and like festivals and holidays and how they connect to foodways. But yeah, my main takeaway is definitely that creating community is the way to help culture thrive. Thank you.
Jarna? I think after Leia is a video, but after that will be Narissa and Caitlin.
God.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'll be presenting my project, Language Comprehension and Cognitive Control, which I've been working with Dr. Bodewin over the past 4 years. In this study, I served as the lead experimenter. I independently ran and completed EEG data collection, and I'm currently pre-processing the data and identifying independent components such as eye blinks and getting ready, preparing the data for analysis. You can see an example of that process on the bottom 2 pictures on the left side. In addition to my work, I've also guided the research assistants that I've worked with in training them on EEG setup, using presentation software, and running full experiment sessions effectively. The focus of this project is to investigate how cognitive control plays a role in processing linguistic ambiguity. Participants first completed 2 language tasks, an easy condition with mostly unambiguous sentences, and followed by a difficult condition with mostly ambiguous sentences. After that, they completed 3 short Stroop blocks. This research is important because it helps us look for signs of increased adaptive cognitive control, especially during the ambiguous condition. Our hypothesis is that the brain recruits more cognitive control when interpreting ambiguous sentences. For example, in the sentence, "The ball was by invitation only," the first part is ambiguous or unclear, and the second part provides more context. Understanding this process could help explain why people with brain injuries such as aphasia struggle with language comprehension. Finally, I've also proposed an independent follow-up project. In this next version, I plan on modifying the current design by interleaving Stroop blocks before, between, and after the language tasks to increase participant focus and increase cognitive control. Thank you so much to the Building Belonging program for making it possible to focus on this research, and a huge shout out to Dr. Bodewin for entrusting me with multiple projects from start to finish. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Valeria Cuevas. I'm majoring in environmental studies with a concentration in conservation science and policy. My advisor for this project is Professor Sakina Jinnah of the Environmental Studies Department. This project today is called Global Perspectives of Carbon Dioxide Removal. Right, so what is our project? We have been conducting a justice-centered analysis of current perspectives literature on carbon dioxide removal to identify who is conducting this research, who has been the focus of this research, where this research is taking place, what is being asked, and why the study is important, why the study was conducted. What are carbon dioxide removal technologies? Well, these are technologies or the enhancement of natural processes that remove carbon emissions from the atmosphere, such as direct air capture and blue carbon. So both geoengineered and natural ways to do this. And what is justice? Environmental justice has been defined by the EPA as the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income, with respect to the development, implementation, or enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. Now, why is this important? This investigation will have various outcomes, including a record of current approaches to publicly engaged CDR research, insights into how current methodologies and approaches to CDR perspectives research impact environmental justice outcomes, and recommendations for how CDR perspective research can be made more just. And my personal contributions include helping to identify research on public perceptions of CDR, coding each paper, managing the data, and co-authoring a paper to analyze this data. I would like to use the last few seconds of my time to thank Professor Sakina Jinnah for everything she's done for me. This has been a wonderful opportunity, and to the Building Belonging program. You've opened many doors for me, and I'm sure many more will open along the way. I'm very grateful for this experience. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Valeria.
Narissa and Caitlin. And next on deck is Alyssa Merced Lutu.
Hi everyone, my name's Narissa.
My name is Caitlin, and we're here to talk about our research done with Professor Rahal and the Health Equity and Youth Lab. So over the past summer, we've been designing a study on socio-political engagement at UCSC. We wanted to see how college students engage civically and also how it potentially impacts their well-being. We felt that this is particularly relevant during this time, as UCSC has a long history of activism, and also the landscape of civic engagement and activism is rapidly changing with social media thrown into the mix. So literature on this area of research is definitely in development. However, what we know so far is that the effects are mixed. It's been shown to promote well-being and also openness to diversity, but it has also been shown to relate to burnout and academic disengagement. And these effects are more extreme in marginalized students.
So for this study, we recruited 122 UCSC students from psychology classes to take 3 weeks of daily activity and emotion checklist surveys. And we both helped with the creation of these surveys, the data collection, and the analysis. And now for our analysis, we're still conducting further analysis, but for some of our preliminary findings, the most common daily civic activities were helping UCSC community be a better place, engaging in social cause, mentoring, volunteering, and learning about social issues. And you can see this bar graph here in the top right has the most popular forms of civic engagement. And overall, many activities that weren't civic action, but were more so just related to civic awareness, were more common day to day, like just talking about social issues were very common. And if you look at the graph, those two columns on the far right, learning about social issues, both in and outside of the class, happened around like once in every 5 days, versus the column like the far left there, actually engaging social cause typically happened around every 1 to 10 days. That kind of demonstrates the relationship of the frequency. And additionally, preliminary correlations indicated that higher participants experienced higher positive emotion on days when they had volunteered, engaged in a protest, coached younger people in their community, but no activities were found to have a correlation with experiencing greater negative emotion. And so we're looking forward to further exploring the insights this data may bring, and we're incredibly grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alyssa. And after Alyssa is the team of Ginny, Karen, and Anthony.
Good.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa. I am a fourth-year cognitive science and psychology intensive double major here at UC Santa Cruz. And today I'm excited to share our research, Labor of Decentralization, Promises and Extraction in the Web3 field. my second year of working on this project through the mentorship of sociology professor Zoe Zhao. Our project explores how gaming is changing, specifically through Web3 and play-to-earn or P2E models. While traditional games are played mainly for fun, P2E games offer monetary rewards through cryptocurrency or NFTs. The promise is that players can play to earn, especially appealing in regions with high youth unemployment or economic instability. But what's really happening in these games? We interviewed players, developers, and Web3 skeptics to understand how they experience these games. A key theme that came up again and again was resistance to financialization. Many players felt that adding money into the mix made games feel less fun, more stressful, and more like a job. Several also shared frustrations about scams, inaccessible platforms, or systems that benefit only the wealthiest players. My role in our research involved recruiting participants, coordinating interviews, and developing questions around gamer identity, motivation, and ethical concerns. I also collaborated with Professor Zhao in analyzing how financial systems intersect with ideas of leisure, digital labor, and community. Through this experience, I've come to see how important it is to question who benefits from decentralized tech and who's being left out. Our research helped me connect my interests in psychology, digital culture, and social justice. And I just want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude. Professor Zoe Zhao, her vision and guidance have not only shaped this project, but have challenged me to think more critically and more ethically about technology, labor, and identity. Finally, I just want to say what an honor it has been to be a part of this program and this community at UC Santa Cruz. It's given me the support and inspiration I needed to pursue research that feels meaningful. It's helped me find my voice and has supported me as a researcher, and I'm immensely grateful for that. Thank you so much.
So Ginny, Karen, and Anthony, you're up. And on deck is Sam Jimenez.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Espinoza. I'm a politics major here at UC Santa Cruz.
I'm Jenny. I'm a psychology and technology and information management.
Hey, I'm Karen Hinojosa, and I'm a psychology and Spanish studies double major.
And our project is called Bilingual Language Processing. Here's an overview of our project. So the Interpreter Lab focuses on understanding how bilingualism and language experience affect the brain activity and cognitive processing. We use EEG. By using EEG, the lab explores how individuals interpret and process language in real time.
As research assistants, we participated in recruiting participants. So I was able to go to cultural clubs on campus like TSA, Taiwanese Student Association, and CSA, the Chinese Student Association, to talk to them about the project and recruit them to come participate. We also ran the participants after we recruit them by putting the cap with the electrodes on top of their head and make sure that the EEG was running and working all good.
Some of our takeaways are that we gain experience with the EEG methods and standards in running participants, and we develop a deeper understanding of bilingual language processing. We would like to thank the Building Belonging program and our professor Liv Huberson for such great experience. Thank you.
Sam? And on deck is Amaya Aquino.
Hi, I'm Sam Jimenez. I'm a third-year sociology and global community health major, and I had the honor of working with Amy Arginal, part of the sociology department. And the title of my research was Understanding Advocacy Around the Root Causes of Migration, Transnational Solidarity in Central America and Beyond. So what this kind of, the whole project's like main thesis was the denial of U.S. Central American ties. So mainstream discourse often erases U.S. involvement in Central America's crises, but advocacy reveals these hidden histories. This kind of challenged the immigrant narrative on how U.S. education often ignores U.S. intervention in Central America. Critical pedagogy kind of like disrupted these silences and fostered awareness. To these pictures to my right, I have a photo of Juan Lopez, who was a environmentalist activist who was murdered in Honduras about a year ago, alongside a memorial with Berta, who was a known, as well, environmental activist who their work shines through today still. So beyond the victim framework, migrants and their communities are agents of change, not just victims. This kind of uplifted the resistance and challenges different dominant humanitarian frameworks. So overall, the main findings of this was the personal and community narratives uncovered truths behind forced migration, violence, displacement, and survival. It's not just isolated, but systemic.
And next on deck after this is the team of Stephanie, Wendy, Svasti, and Nashali.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amaya Kino, and I'm a third-year intensive psychology and cognitive science double major. Today, I'll be sharing my research on how people who are sensitive to contamination respond to disgusting images, and I worked with Professor Hannah Ryla on this project. So we've probably all heard of OCD, or obsessive-compulsive disorder. People with OCD, or even just some OCD-like traits, tend to be more sensitive to dirty or contaminated things, like a picture of a dirty bathroom. Past research shows that these individuals unconsciously pay more attention to gross things. But in this project, we wanted to know how quickly they notice them. And to study this, we used a method called breaking continuous flash suppression. It's sort of like a vision game where one eye sees a pattern of flashing colors called a Mondrian, which is that picture right there. And the other eye views a hidden image, like a picture of moldy bread or a picture of clean bread. And then participants are instructed to press a button when they first notice the image. And so the faster they respond, the more sort of attention-grabbing we deem these images to be. So we tested this with 27 undergraduate students and compared their reaction times to how they scored on 2 questionnaires. The first questionnaire measured their OCD traits, and the second one measured how easily disgusted they are. Interestingly, we found that people who scored higher on OCD traits and disgust sensitivity did not respond faster to disgusting images. Although this may seem counterintuitive, it may actually support a theory called the maintenance hypothesis, which claims that these individuals actually linger longer on gross things and therefore have trouble looking away. And lastly, I'd like to thank the Building Belonging Program and Professor Hannah Ryla for helping me with this project, and thank you.
And now this is our last presentation. So Stephanie, Wendy, Svasti, and Nashali.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy Perez.
My name is Swasti Kandpal.
My name is Nashli Parikandia. And I'm Stephanie Mendez.
In our project, we focused on farm worker health research as well as the inequalities of resilience between the cities of Watsonville and Santa Cruz. Watsonville and Santa Cruz are neighboring cities that share economic and ecological ties but face drastically different health realities. As Santa Cruz benefits from greater affluence and healthcare, Watsonville, which is home to many farm workers, face greater exposures in environmental hazards, higher rates in uninsurance, and chronic health challenges. These vulnerabilities are further intensified by climate change impacts such as wildfires, flooding, and heat stress.
So during our project, we used a variety of research methods. In the fall, I took the GCH 190 task force class with Dr. Spark, in which I was a part of a team which created research brochures that could be distributed to the farm workers, and it covered a certain variety of topics, including transportation, food, housing, education, and maternal and child care. These were also uploaded to a digital app developed by Dr. Spark's team. Additionally, I also conducted field work in Watsonville, attending different events such as food drives where we distributed $25 gift cards as well as surveys, where we listened to the farm workers' needs up close and use that to create data that could be used to drive policy change. Our team participated in Bromothora trainings, and we also reviewed academic articles, policy briefs, and community reports, as well as data mapping, such as the one shown here above, to strengthen our findings. As you can see in this example above, adults without health insurance, there's like a stark difference between Watsonville, which is darker below, and then Santa Cruz, which is above, with higher rates of adults without insurance in Watsonville. And this is just one example.
Our project also sought to highlight the struggles and systematic inequalities faced by farm workers in Watsonville. At campus events, parents participated in surveys and they received a $20 gift card, but they highlighted their shared stories of mistreatment, unstable employment, and lack of resources. In response, our team helped enhance an app that enables farm workers to report mistreatment, receive weather alerts, and better prepare for hazardous working conditions, ultimately empowering them to advocate for safer and more just labor environments.
We visualize some of these inequalities in the graphic shown here, and it's important to acknowledge the health challenges it also exists with Northern Santa Cruz, including among UCSC students. Another key component of our work involved direct collaboration with promotores or community health workers. Students like myself paired with community health workers to deliver educational presentation in Spanish topics such as mental health, water contamination, and pesticide protection, as well as more. These presentations reached farm workers in Watsonville, Salinas, and Huron. This project brought together many moving parts: research, community engagement, and policy-focused education. Thanks to the many, thank you so much to Professor Spark and the Building Belonging Program.
Wow. Yeah. Great job, everyone. Can we give a last round of applause to all the student presenters? Amazing. I wanted to say, seeing these all together, I don't know if you all felt this too, was just amazing to see both the breadth of the work that goes on in the social science division. It's an amazing breadth of work at really important cutting edge issues, but also the depth and the sophistication the students were able to get to as undergrads in, relatively short period of time in some cases. It's super impressive. And then finally for me, the professional presentation, but really more thinking about kind of the next generation of leaders. It just gives me hope, honestly, to hear you all present and thinking about you as future scholars and leaders in our society that, just thank you for all your great work. So one more round of applause, please.